another episode of the Artificial Struggle, Our Struggle by Our Own Design. And today we're going to talk about if you can't object, leave. So obviously this is going to have some nuance. This is going to happen within reason. There's going to be a lot of times where you think about this concept, and we've already thought about this concept, and it probably wasn't really applicable yet. It wasn't really viable. It was probably high emotion. This should be practiced within reason. And if you can with patience and if you can with grace, but sometimes that is not the case. So the gist is those that are not allowed to object, question, or deny are in a power imbalance, meaning that there is someone who has not only more power than you, but a right to exercise that power imbalance with no objection. And objection will lead to punishment. What I like to call voluntelling someone to do something. I got that from somebody else. I didn't make that up. So to be voluntold to do something looks a lot like you're at work and someone literally tells you to do something, right? And it's not even just the thing you signed up for because we have to be careful. Like, would you ever complain about the thing you signed up for? Absolutely, but you do it because you realize you signed up for it. What I'm talking about is the things you didn't agree to in the power imbalance. And sometimes the things you agree to, but being carried out in such a fashion that is not in alignment with the reason you signed up for whatever that thing is. So, what does that look like? Maybe you've agreed to peel 40 oranges, but today they're telling you they're not going to provide you with gloves, right? Yeah, I don't know if you ever peeled an orange, but when that shit gets underneath your nails, ugh. But this is an example of objecting to something that you technically agreed to, but it's being bent and twisted to a certain degree that it almost is in a gray area, right? And this is a sort of manipulation that you have to watch out for because this happens in a lot of relationships, whether that be professional or romantic or familial, whatever the case may be. Is people will go into the gray area. It's in a weird spot, and you really don't know. It's a form of power imbalance. Objection is a sign of mutual respect. So being able to say no or push back or sort of give critical feedback is a sign of a mutual relationship. It's a sign of mutual respect. It's a sign of a power balance. Is maybe we both agreed to this, but maybe not in these terms. Maybe we didn't clarify that this way. And so being able to give that feedback and object within reason is a sign of mutual respect. From my experience, you rarely see this in places of employment, but in a lot of relationships as well, you will see this, and not even like personally affected by it, but me witnessing it. So the issue at hand is largely with being asked to do something outside of your scope of responsibility. So that's not even just, like I said, in an employment sense, but in many different situations. Being asked to do something that's slightly or completely out of what your responsibilities are and feeling compelled to say yes is always a sign that there's a power imbalance. You are afraid to say no, or feeling afraid to say no, I should say. You're afraid to object, and there is a power imbalance in a situation like that. Not because you're afraid to speak up for yourself, but if you're certain or you've seen evidence of there being repercussion for your saying no. There's very seldom any incentive to do this. True incentive, not merit bucks like I used to call them, or like I do call them, which is like recognition and pizza parties and the promise of things going your way over time. If there's an agreement that has been made and you're being asked to do extra with no incentive, that's a very bad situation to get in. You're going to find yourself in a situation where the second you say no, because I've seen this time and time again with people I've had to address about certain issues I've had. The thing that I got told when I finally addressed it is, well, you never said anything. Why are you saying something now? So we have to be very careful about how we don't object the first time we're asked to do more with no clear incentive or no clear alignment with whatever your discussed responsibilities are. So it's a very slippery slope. This is the ultimate issue here, right? So if you don't address these things, resentment will ensue. And it's going to show in your work, in your relationships, in the way you view life. You're going to be negative all the time. Resentment is a strong burden to carry. So what do you want to do? You just suck it up and carry it? Like I said, within reason, it's okay to do a little bit more, but you have to draw a line in the sand and you have to do it early because it will breed resentment whenever you see that your peers or your friends don't have to do nearly as much to get nearly as little as you. You get reduced to a yes man. So not only are you signaling to whoever the power imbalance, uh, how should I say this? Whoever the tyrant is, right? Whoever the person that holds more power in that relationship. Not only are you signaling that to them, but you're signaling it to everybody else around you that's watching this power imbalance take place, that you are somebody that can be walked over and sort of manipulated. So they see it. And from experience, personal, and just a viewer from a viewer standpoint, I have seen this happen time and time again. Other people will start to test you the same exact way. Other kinds of relationships will start to test you the same exact way, all because you did not object. Boundaries start getting crossed. So this is kind of where the resentment starts to brew because people get comfortable and familiarity breeds, you know the saying. If you have a capitalistic view on not only employment but life in general, which is you want to get the highest ROI for the least amount invested, you're going to have a hard time. And so I'm not saying that this is the best viewpoint to have, but you are going to have a hard time unless you're somebody that already has leverage and power. If you think like that and you're not somebody that has the resources to back it up, you cannot think like the person has the power imbalance in their hands, right? Because if you do, they're going to see you as competition, knock you out. If you want the highest ROI for the least amount of costs, like a capitalist business, an employer, like a manipulative person, if you want that same thing, you guys are going to butt heads immediately versus an employee mindset or a subservient approach to relationships, which is I will do more than I'm asked for nothing in return at all. So what I like I said, you will get these merit bucks that people will give you. Like it's like recognition. Like I said, it's never any financial incentive, or if you're in a relationship, just reciprocity to any degree of whatever you're giving. You start to adopt this mindset that I will do more that is asked for nothing in return. That's dangerous. That is a dangerous mindset to have, and it's a dangerous, even more dangerous behavior to have. So ultimately, what ends up happening when you have that kind of mindset, that a subservient approach, what happens is more manipulation. You get told more things to do more things. You get more programming. You start to teach yourself to kind of accept these confines that weren't initially discussed with you. They start blurring that line and pushing that edge a little bit more, and then ultimately you get merit bucks. And merit bucks cannot be used to purchase anything. They are used to give you the illusion that you are making progress. Now, does this work out for some people? Yes, but I am under the impression, and to be convinced possibly, then change my mind, but I'm open to it, but I have not seen any evidence that it's not this. You are being strung along by watching people work out for them because it gives you the impression that you could do the same thing, and it's just not the case. Sometimes the people who succeed in power imbalance are those who can just continue to remain subservient and have no issues, and they're just the easiest person to work with, but that does not make them the best. You have to understand this. This is just the nature of power imbalance. If you're less likely to object, I'm going to keep you around. And you can also use that to your advantage. So this video isn't to be used as don't do this, it's to let you know the existence of this thing. A lot of relationships you have, especially as a young person, the imbalance is going to be, you're going to be on the lower end. Just monitoring where it's at and matching that with not only interests but goals and seeing where you align. And once that starts to get knocked out of alignment, you can kind of maybe bring it back here. If that's impossible, then you might need to consider leaving so you don't harbor resentment. One thing I want to leave you with is jobs can pay you, people can give you what you. I'll probably leave that part out. Shit was lame.